Well, financial woes and high cost of living still plaguing Israel with no end in sight. A report from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development listed Israel in first place for the highest cost of living last year. The data showed that prices were 38% higher than the average for OECD countries. Coming in second on the list is Switzerland, Iceland in third, the United States in fourth, and Australia in fifth. Let's bring in Dr. Alex Coman, an economics expert here at Tel Aviv University. Thank you so much for being with us. Let's talk about why the cost of living in Israel is so high when compared to countries in Europe, the United States, Australia. Why is Israel number one?
Because Israel's economy is not as competitive as you see it in Europe or in the States. In particular, that's one reason, in the sense that when you think about the US, it's such a large country, so you would have many suppliers of the same products and they would compete between each other. When you think about Israel, you would have one franchisee for McDonald's, one franchisee for Coca-Cola, so there's no competition at all. So what happens is what in economics we call monopoly price. So you choose the price that's most profitable to you. And as a result, you see many products in Israel, I mean, even dairy products, etc., costing 70%, 50% more than they do cost in Europe. Another reason for that is the fact that Israel, until recently, has unique standards. So you cannot just take a product that you sell in Europe or in the US, you actually need to customize it to the Israeli standards, which often are ridiculous. And this increases costs and also makes it less competitive, because many companies say that for the Israeli market, it's not worth their while. The third thing is the customer. If you think about Americans have this idea of shop till you drop, and Americans are willing to drive many miles in order to get a good bargain. Israelis often go like sheep to the store and they buy whatever price is required. So as a result, the market is not that competitive.
How, for the everyday average person, they're going to the grocery store when they're spending around $100 US, and they're not really getting a lot for their money. But how, in a country where wages are not so high compared to the cost of living, how can the economy survive?
Well, that's a tragedy, because when you look at the prices, Israel started in the 90s with like on the lowest quartile of the OECD, and now it's at the top, above Switzerland, which is incredible. If you look at wages, the average salary in the OECD was higher than in Israel, but the gap increased. So the purchasing power parity decreased, in the sense that the number of salaries that you need in order to buy an apartment increased over time. And that's why people feel that it's incredibly difficult to live. It's impossible to buy an apartment. And that's why it's so painful, and the government is completely complacent.
Dr. Alex Coman, an expert in economics, joining us on the high cost of living, high inflation, and housing crisis here in Israel. Thank you.